if you're someone who's been playing it comfortable or playing it safe recently, this is your sign to push out of that comfort zone and push yourself and challenge yourself.
My name is Prem, and I'm currently doing the Couch to 5K journey. If you've been following me along so far, today's run will be run 25. And following on from my past few runs, I have been taking it very slow with my approach. I've been making small incremental increases, and I feel like this is a time to kind of stop that and really make a push and really challenge myself. And that's what I believe I did today. If you followed my last run, you will have seen that I ran for a total of 20 minutes. And that was one of my most enjoyable and fulfilling experiences I've ever had on a run. That 20 minutes felt really, really good. I mentioned that I was in a flow state and I felt this like really good high, and everything clicked on that run, and it was a really good feeling. And I feel like I'd been kind of sat at that 20-minute mark for like a week or two now, and I've done a couple of runs within that range. And now I feel like I'm at a stage where it's time to make a big step up. And I mentioned a couple of runs ago, I deviated from the Couch to 5K program because I didn't feel like I was at the level to continue it as of yet. Because my next upcoming run within the program is a 25-minute run without any breaks in between. And I had put that off for so long because I wasn't at that stage yet. When I had first seen that run within week 6, I was running for around 15 minutes confidently, and that was kind of my like that was kind of my cap for the time being. I was kind of stuck in a plateau, and I was like, I couldn't really push beyond that 15-minute mark. So I took it upon myself to like really focus on my running form and improve loads of other things like my breathing, my heel striking, or not heel striking, avoiding heel striking, and all these other little things that like help improve your running form and will help me eventually break that plateau. And then, which I did, I progressed on to 17 and a half and then 20. And then today, I've revisited the program with my next upcoming run being 25 minutes, and I did it. 25 minutes of running. That is a massive, well, not a massive jump. It's only a matter of 5 minutes, but in the context of it, I ran for 25 minutes without stopping. In comparison to what I did in week 1, I ran for a total of like 7 minutes, I think, or 8 maybe. And going from that, and that was all like in intervals. So I'd run for like a minute, and then I'd walk for 2 minutes, and then walk for a minute, and walk and I'd run for 1 minute, walk for two, walk for another one, walk for two, something like that. And it'd be very slow, very laboured, very relaxing, kind of soft pace. In comparison to today, I ran for 25 minutes and did not stop once. That's a massive jump in a matter of about 2 and a bit months. I was able to go from that to that because I consistently pushed myself. I implemented loads of good habits. I remained fairly consistent, being about 2 runs a week, and I stayed consistent with my strengthening outside of my runs and always consistently stretched right after my runs and made sure I was fully recovered before going into the next one. So, what was different about this run was that I, having achieved 20 minutes in my previous run, I was at a stage where I didn't want to run 20 minutes again because I'd already smashed it in the previous one. I was like, I need to really take a step up, and that's what I did today. I revisited the program and went back to week 6, run 3, which had been left like sort of lingering there for quite a while because I'd never actually chosen to attempt it because it was a run for 25 minutes straight. It was a session that was designed to get you to run for 25 minutes straight without stopping. And upon making that decision, I actually felt a little bit nervous. The goal almost felt a little bit out of reach thinking about it. But in hindsight, I'd already run for 20 minutes in my previous run. Why can't I run for 25? I kind of had this limiting belief, and I don't know where it came from. I'd already proven to myself I could run for 20. How much more is 25 really? It's only 5 minutes more. And because the goal kind of felt a little bit out of reach, I was almost a bit like, not afraid, but kind of nervous of whether or not I'd be able to achieve it. And given how the run started out, I was kind of like feeding this limiting belief and trying giving it power and saying I'm not capable of it, but I was able to achieve it. So why was I thinking in this kind of manner? I don't particularly know. But what I will say is having a goal that's perhaps slightly a little bit out of your reach might be more motivating because it pushed me more to get to that 25-minute mark and then be able to say I did it. Having goals slightly outside of your reach are probably better for you because you'll probably make more progress than having a smaller, more achievable, safe, comfortable goal that you can do. I'd say the majority of the time, you should sort of make smaller, more achievable goals, but you should also have a time where you perhaps push yourself further than you think you can and have a goal that almost feels a little bit out of reach and it's almost a bit scary on whether or not you'll be able to get it or not, because that kind of fear may drive you to actually work harder and get even closer to that goal, or even better, actually achieving the goal, which I did. I ran for 25 minutes today, and when I started this run, everything was going as normal. Everything was ticking along nicely. I got to around halfway, and that's when my legs started to give out. And it wasn't really my heavy feet or shins. Those weren't actually a problem this time round. It was my quad, surprisingly. I've never really had that be the main reason I had to slow down, but my legs gave out around halfway through the run, and I just sort of accepted it. And I was like, oh, okay, my legs feel a bit heavy. I'm just going to slow things down a bit, and that's exactly what I did. I was a little bit surprised I didn't actually feel any shin splint pain or anything to do with heavy feet. And I guess that is a combination of the good habits I've put into practice. And also, I believe that this run was actually a test of my character. Come to think of it, this is the furthest I've ever run so far in the program, 25 minutes. So taking or like having the courage to say, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this run, but doing it anyway and trying, having that courage just to try is a really good trait to have. And this concept can be applied to anything in life. Having the courage just to try something will mean you have no idea what you're capable of until you try it. If I went back to before I did the run and asked myself, could I run for 25 minutes? I would say, not sure, maybe, but I'll have to give it a go and see before I could come to like a real decision on whether or not I could do it. And I absolutely did do it. It was one of the most toughest runs I've ever been on, but I absolutely smashed it. And after around the 12.5 minute mark, which is about halfway through the run, I was very, very slow. I was kind of like jogging in a sense, moving very slowly. If you're familiar with David Goggins, you may see clips of him running and like finishing runs. You may see him do like ultramarathon runs, and he's like kind of cruising to the finish line, and he's moving very, very slowly. That's how I felt on this run. On the second half of the portion of the run, the second 12.5 minutes, I was moving very, very slowly, but I didn't stop once during that second half of the run. And towards like the last few minutes, I actually started to speed up a little bit. And I think that this is one of those runs where I needed to test myself. I've been feeling a little bit comfortable recently, and I wanted to really kind of almost be frightened about the prospect of what the run is to come, and just give it a go and just see what happens. And that's exactly what I did. And then in the end, I ran for 25 minutes, the longest distance so far. It was an absolute killer. My quads were absolutely gone. I sweated so much in the run. I was absolutely exhausted, but I managed to do it. And I'm going to leave you with this one takeaway that you can leave this video with. And that is, if you've been cruising through your run so far and you've not really had that opportunity to really push yourself, stop. It's time to push and really challenge yourself. Having finished this run, this is the most fulfilled I've ever felt on a run before. Not to mention, it's my longest distance so far, being around 4 kilometers. It's all the longest time I've run for. And even though the second half of this run felt like a bit of a slug, I felt absolutely great afterwards because I pushed myself further than I thought I could go and was able to run for this time and absolutely smash it. And that's all I've got to say today. I will leave you with the sort of details of the run, and I'll catch you in the next one.